Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Wednesday's Wisdom. I'm Dr. Patel with the Diabetes Free Life Group. Welcome to all the new attendees that we have here. Happy to have you guys alongside this evening. Hey there, this is something that we do every week. So if you're new to the group, we come on, generally speaking, every Wednesday, and we're going to provide you with content, information to actually help you live a diabetes-free life. And I give you clinical information that I'm using day in and day out in our practice every single day. These are the strategies, these are the tools that we use to help people actually walk away from diabetes, because we all know that's possible. But you need the right strategies. These are the strategies that we help good people reverse their diabetic conditions. That's what this is all about. This is why we're here. It's 2025, you guys all know that. And the reality is that diabetic care in the United States is pretty tragic. And I've been at this for a long time, and it really hasn't changed over the last couple of decades. And I know it's impacted my family, and if you've been part of this group, you know how it's impacted my family. I talk to people every single day that are just sick and tired of being, well, I like to say it, sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're tired of the medications, they're tired of the needles, the symptoms. It's a really, really big mess out there in the standard of care, because 95% of these patients just get worse with time, not better. That might be your story. You might be stacking up complications after complications and more drugs and more drugs. But I want to let you know you can turn it around. You can live a diabetes-free life if you wanted to, right? And that's the thing. You need to want to. You need to make sure that you have that big why that we talk about. You don't need to be turned into just another medical statistic. You know, it doesn't have to be your story. You know, the first step, like we always talk about, is make sure that you get registered for a masterclass. We'll be announcing some dates here in the near future, but seriously, don't miss it. Watch for the links, make sure you get your spot. And again, it's completely free. It's time to figure out what's causing your issues. And the only way you're gonna know that is to get after it, right? All right, so the topic at hand tonight, we're gonna be rolling along. You know, you guys know this. We're in the winter season here. And if you've been keeping an eye on the trends, you'll notice that cold and flu season is in full swing right now. And it's a season where I want to share with you some of the secrets that we use here in our practice to avoid illness that unfortunately many diabetics unfortunately are going through. Patients who are using day in and day out. And I say it's a secret, but it really shouldn't be. So let's do this. If there's one thing that you don't want when you're already dealing with diabetes, it's what? An upper respiratory infection. And those unfortunately are really, really common at this time of the year. You know, what a miserable experience. And I want to show you how you can hopefully make sure that you kind of sidestep that. So what happens when a diabetic ends up with an infection is you start building up an exaggerated inflammatory response. Inflammation is like, it's like gas on a fire. And when your body's already on fire with high blood sugar, it doesn't take much to just burn hotter and brighter. And it seems diabetics get sicker for longer periods of time. If there's anything we learned back in 2020, it's that diabetics got sick and they got sick longer. If you spent any time around our Diabetes Free Life Group, you know that most diabetic cases are inflammatory causes at some kind of root level, meaning your body is always in a state of constant inflammation. And that inflammation is what leads to insulin resistance and ultimately higher blood sugars. But what does modern medicine do? It's not geared to actually help you find out what's driving the inflammation in the first place. It doesn't really behoove it to figure out, well, what are the root causes? Why is it there in the first place? It's not how it's designed. They're in the business of, selling fire extinguishers, right? But almost like they're half empty. And the more you use them, the more you actually need them. Anyway, there are many root causes, as we've talked about here, that deal with blood sugar issues. And we go into a lot more detail during the master classes. So again, if you haven't seen the master class, you are definitely missing out. So by the way, there are root causes that force your body to actually express inflammation, these inflammatory patterns to drive diabetes. And a cold or a flu virus, it does a similar thing. It forces your body to just try to fight and build out by building inflammation inside your body. That's how your body kills the infection in the first place, this inflammation. So with diabetes, you're already dealing with a body that's inflamed, and then all of a sudden you get exposed to an infection and it begins to actually increase more levels of inflammation. And it just builds up, it builds up, it builds up. And that means, generally speaking, your blood sugar is going to go up as well. And it makes the fire bigger, right? Trying to kill out the infection, because your body will release more inflammation. And this is where the fever comes in. This is where the mucus buildout starts coming in. You know, the terrible experience that you guys are all familiar with, that we're all actually familiar with. Now the issue is this: if you've already been spending all that energy on the inflammation, the issues with your diabetes, oftentimes your immune system is already spending 80–90% of all the energy that it has to actually try to combat the root causes of the inflammation that comes from your diabetes. And then an infection shows up and it kind of becomes just crazy town. And then why does it do that, right? It winds up becoming this long, drawn out, prolonged, taking forever for you to heal. And that, generally speaking, is the case. You know, diabetes is an immune compromising condition, and as a result, when you get sick, you stay sicker, generally speaking, longer. So what do? You don't get there in the first place. That's the key thing. And I know, novel idea, right? But it's kind of like diabetes, though. So many people think it's like it's the luck of the draw. Well, it's just by random chance that you became a diabetic, and it's not the case. It's not random. It's not chance. But you want to make sure that you write this part down. Right? Do yourself a favor. I want you to get a tool, and it's a simple tool that you can pick up on Amazon, and it's called the Navage. And I'll spell it out for you right here. It's Navage, Navage. Right? And it's like this this power washer for your sinuses, and that's in the area between your throat and your nose. And I wish that these things were around a long time ago, but here's the thing, they're around now, and they're an amazing device that I think you guys should pick up if you're worried about flu season and getting upper respiratory infections. And the idea is, what the Navage does is it takes saline, warm water, and it clears out, for the lack of a better word, all the garbage that's living in these sleeper cells, and they're just waiting to get activated. These little immune stressors are just hanging out, waiting for your immune system to be vulnerable, and then bam, all of a sudden you get a full infection raging in your sinuses, your throat, down into your lungs, and it's an absolute mess. And I like to make moves to try to prevent those things, and this is why I'm sharing this with you, right? You got to keep that area clean. Now, they have options on Amazon for this, where they use these little saline packets. They even have ones with eucalyptus in the saline packets. So fair warning, only use eucalyptus if you are brave. I'm just saying, you know, every day, run through those sinuses twice a day, morning and night during the flu season, right? It's like brushing your teeth. Warm water, the saline gets put in there, and you put it up your nostrils and your nostril, right? And you press that little button. And if you press the water in one side, and it sucks it out the other. It's really easy to use. There's some great online videos on it, but it's super easy device to use. It takes a little bit of practice, but make sure you breathe through your mouth, right? But do it a few times. Get the hang of it. And okay, so this is one of the best tools I've seen for hygiene in this area, and I wanted you to be aware of that. So if you're a diabetic, you got to go above and beyond. You got to take action in order to offset some of the run-of-the-mill infections that are always just happening this time of the year. Remember, you're already dealing with an inflammatory problem, and then all of a sudden you lean down to get those hugs from your grandkids, and they cough on you, they sneeze on you. I'm just saying, right? Preempt the problem. Be ahead of it. Hopefully you're not having to live with Dayquil, right? Or these other things like Kleenexes just sitting inside of your nose all the time, like twice a day. Just like you brush your teeth. It's going to help with better sleep, less illness, allergy management by using this device, better energy, of course, doing your part to help you regulate blood sugar and get everything back on track. Remember, the best way to deal with sickness is not get sick in the first place, but remarkable, I know, right? But here's the thing. You got to make sure that you're taking some proactive steps. So let this be the message for this evening. I want you to check that out on Amazon. Save yourself some frustration and get healthy as you can. Again, it's called the Navage, and you can use it, right? Be the best that you can be through this winter season, and hope you're going to minimize any issues at all, but especially upper respiratory infections. Have a blessed evening.